Terapagos is maybe the single most confusing Pokemon ever created. Between its 3 forms, 3 signature abilities, and a crazy signature move, it's been said it's more like a Yu-Gi-Oh card than a Pokemon. My name is Adi, I'm a VGC player, and I've been testing Terapagos, and let me tell you, with tournaments coming up and this Pokemon legal, you will need to know all of these mechanics to compete at the highest level. I'm going to explain them to you all in one place, so let's dive into it. Form 1, the baby. So, Terapagos has 3 forms that we'll go through one at a time. The first is the baby turtle, also known as the normal form. When it's sent into battle, it immediately transforms into the shell form, or terrestrial form. I don't know why it's called the terrestrial form. It's not terastallizing yet, at least not in any way that matters. You will never engage with the baby form in battle. It's even immune to neutralizing gas. They made a signature ability called Terra Shift that exists exclusively to transform this Pokemon as soon as it enters battle, no matter the circumstances. As far as I'm concerned, they did all of this to confuse VGC players who have to fill out a team sheet with an ability and stats that are entirely irrelevant to what this Pokemon looks like in battle. But, I mean, really, they coded all these mechanics just to have that one cool cutscene with Kieran, and that's it. But, really, please don't mess up your team sheet because of this. Seriously. Alright, next form. Form 2, Shell form. And no, I will not call it the terrestrial form. So, this is what you're going to have to deal with initially in battle. This is a normal type Pokemon, and you can see the stats on screen. Keep the 95 base HP stat in mind. We are going to circle back to that, but first let's talk about its ability, Terra Shell. Now, this has been compared to Multiscale, but it's actually better in a lot of ways. The way that it works, if you are a full HP, any attack that hits will do not very effective damage. So, for a neutral attack, this is going to be half damage. But this is a normal type, so you are still immune entirely to ghost type attacks, and normally you're weak to fighting types. But if you get hit by a fighting type at full HP, it still becomes a not very effective attack, so it's actually a 1/4 multiplier instead of a 1/2 multiplier. Another difference from Multiscale is that every hit of a multi-hit move will be not very effective. All 3 hits of Surging Strikes are not very effective at full health, as is Close Combat. That's right, you want to beat Urshifu? That'll be $35. Cerebi has these traits listed, which, as far as I know, are all correct. The important ones are that it is affected by neutralizing gas, and it can be hit by Mold Breaker or by Turbo Blaze, Kyurem, other abilities that break the mold will break through it. However, you can't steal it or skill swap it or anything like that. It is stuck on Terapagos. Finally, his signature move is Terra Starstorm, and this move also changes with its forms. Currently, it is a normal type move, so you get the normal same type attack bonus. It's also a single target move for now. Spoilers. It's going to change a lot, but for now it's a base 120 power, single target, normal type special attacking move with, as far as I've seen, no really unique mechanics. Don't copycat it, I guess? Anyways, if you're still with me, I promise you it only gets more confusing from here. Form 3, Stellar form. Terapagos can only ever be a Stellar Terra type. When you choose to terastallize it at the start of the turn, after switches and stuff, Terapagos will terastallize. This induces a form change, which is aptly named the Stellar form. And as soon as all of this happens, all the terrain effects and weather effects are removed from battle as a result of its ability called Terraform 0. This is a one-time effect. It happens exactly once when it terastallizes and never again. You can stop it with neutralizing gas, and I guess you can suppress it with other stuff, but once it pulls off the terrain or weather removal, it doesn't actually do anything else, thankfully. Another thing that I'm thankful for is that it follows the normal rules of Stellar Terra, which means that it is still a normal type Pokemon defensively. In fact, now that Terra Shell is no longer its ability, it will take super effective damage from close combat. Similarly, normal type moves like Hyper Beam get the Super Stab or 2x bonus from the Stellar Terra because it was originally a normal type Pokemon. And notably, Terapagos never loses the Stellar damage boost. It always gets the same multiplier, be that a 2x boost for normal moves or a 1.2x boost that Stellar Terra gives to all of its coverage moves. But Terra Starstorm does work differently, and we will get back to that. Speaking of things that we are going to get back to, remember how it used to have a base 95 HP stat? Well, you can see its new stats on screen, and obviously it gets a lot more stats. In particular, it's got a base 160 HP stat now, And you might have noticed that most Pokemon that change forms do not change their HP stat when they change forms, and that is for good reason. The only other Pokemon that is like this, I think, is Zygarde, which, if you played in VGC 2019, you know can be a menace. Essentially, the way it works is the total amount of hit point damage it's taken stays the same. Its max HP stat is going to be higher, so it ends up at a higher percentage of HP than it was before it terastallized. So if it was at 100% HP, it still is at 100% HP. But if you've taken 10 hit points, maybe that goes from only 90% of your hit points remaining to 98% of your hit points remaining. And so I think if you're at 1 hit point, you can go all the way up to 40 percentage points or something like that at maximum. I'm not exactly sure what the number is, but it can be a considerable amount. Although, keep in mind you are getting the same number of hit points additionally, regardless of whether you Terra at 1 HP or at 100%. Okay, now let's talk about Terra Starstorm. When you terastallize, this move has an entirely new effect. The only thing that it has in common is it still is a base 120 power move. First off, it changes from a single target move to a spread move. It also changes from a special attack to a Photon Geyser style attack that is based on which of your stats is higher, but needless to say, because a special attack is so much higher than its physical attack, it normally is still a special attacking move. It is also no longer a normal type move. Instead, it's a stellar type move, just like Terra Blast, that can hit Pokemon that have Terra'd already super effectively and hits everything else neutrally. Except for opposing Shell Form Terapagos, of course. Now, remember, none of these mechanics work the same as it did before Terapagos terastallized. In fact, I'd recommend rewatching the previous section on Terra Starstorm just to internalize it, because it is so easy to mix up the effects. Or perhaps you could send this video to a friend and then watch it with them, giving yourself a second chance to internalize all this information. I certainly think you should like and subscribe, and even maybe comment your favorite Terapagos mechanic or any mechanic that I might have missed. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later.